Almost 20 minutes past 6. Classic Business is brought to you by MTN Business. The Software Alliance has identified several areas of the draft national policy on intellectual property as worrying and is urging the Department of Trade and Industry to engage in an extended consultation period and a more concerted approach. Darren Olivier, partner at Adams & Adams. Darren, thank you for taking the time to chat to us this evening. South Africa's draft intellectual property policy, what are your thoughts on it? It's going through at a national level at the moment. Are there still issues you have with it?
There are a number of issues. Thanks for asking. The policy is in. I think the idea of having a policy is a fantastic one. It seeks to have a coordinated policy, which may be almost possible to achieve. But I think the very fact that they're attempting to get one out is a good thing. When it comes to the draft itself. Much of the commentary believes that it's fallen short of its stated objectives, that there is a need for an extended consultation period with the various stakeholders, they've called for comment, which was due within 30 days. It was quite a short period of time, but the comment has been quite extensive, and I've read most of it and included some of our own through various forms, through the Software Alliance, the BSA, as well as through my firm, Adams & Adams, and there is much that still needs to be done.
What exactly would you like to see changed, and what exactly would you like people to know that it actually is going to change?
I think if it comes to talk about software, is one of the commentators, and I'm just going to paraphrase, says, the Copyright Act needs a proper hair trim. It was drafted first in 1978, one or two amendments in the 90s, and really falls well short of the digital period that we are in. So yes, we do need to look at that and almost, I wouldn't say redraft it, but really substantial changes need to be made. I think it's got to strike a balance. It's got to incentivize investment, foreign investment, software development, not only by the big companies but by the small companies as well. I think that copyright has kind of been seen as an inhibitor to kind of access to knowledge, and almost drawn up with the textbook debate is that people have said that there's a lack of textbooks and access to textbooks, and they're blaming copyright, where in fact it's not really that at all. And copyright in many ways fosters innovation, fosters access to knowledge. And I think that when you hear, as one commentator made, to the draft policy, that they're considering moving their local software development company offshore because of it, then I think substantial changes need to be made and looked at within the policy.
One of the commentators says that South Africa must do more to support local companies that rely on IP protections, and that's in order to deliver jobs and contribute to local economies. Can you elaborate on that? Yes,
I think as soon as you take the view that you need to create exceptions to, say, IP protection, by that you mean that you will relax the protection. At the same time, the whole idea of the protection is to foster innovation. I mean, the idea of giving you exclusivity to whatever your work might be is an incentive towards creation to developing, to investing in the R&D to develop or create or innovate. So on the one hand, it's aimed at, let's say, Western companies that they feel, the country often feels, overreach their rights, but at the same time, by relaxing them, you do yourself and your local providers who make use of the copyright protection in particular a disservice, because it means that their own works are not protected adequately.
Darren, the actual national policy, on intellectual property, is at a draft level at this stage. Does this mean that your concerns will be considered by government, or are you hoping they'll be considered by government?
We hope so. What is a little bit worrying is that we were only given really a month to come back to them, and we've seen how the government has, for example, railroaded through the traditional knowledge legislation, almost ignoring commentary from well-known commentators, well-respected commentators, and my concern is that they will do the same. However, there's nothing to say that they will, and I think we must give them the benefit of the doubt if possible, and I really just I'm hopeful that they will take a lot of these comments to hand, that they will have a proper consultative process, release some of the studies upon which they base their own policy, before actually correcting or updating the policy and publishing it in a more final form.